This is Hayden Collingham. Today I'm going to be taking you through a short guide to Roman coinage. So just a slight overview. This is a repurposing of Project 3. This is because I believe that it gives me the best topic and information to work with. The audience will be my classes club or anybody who wants to learn about coins. And my purpose for this is that I hope to be able to teach you guys a little bit about Roman coinage and maybe even some Roman culture. Some important terms in numismatics and a few tips on coins in general. So we'll start with the terms. Important ones to know: obverse, which is the front side of a coin; reverse, which is the back side of a coin; and the numismatics is the study of coins and currency in general. A few things to know about coins is that many of them will have an abbreviation of the mint, as you can see here. HAT stands for Hatrii, which is a mint in the Roman Empire. Many of the gods will look alike, but there are some features that you'll be able to tell them apart by. The Romans are weird, so are their coins. A lot of them are old and hard to recognize, and they'll have more than one meaning depending on who is handling the coin. We'll start with some early coins and myths. So here we see a coin with the reverse showing a thunderbolt of Jupiter, and you can tell that it is Jupiter's thunderbolt because it is a torch-shaped object with the arrow pointing out and the two prongs on the side. And then on the obverse here, you have this dolphin, which many people would immediately connect to Neptune, obviously, but in the early stages of Rome, this actually would have been a symbol of Venus, who is said to have come out of the sea in many myths. And a lot of questions around this that I get, or at least that people have asked me, is why is Venus such a central figure in Roman coinage? And the answer to that is Aeneas. So the story of Aeneas is that he was a prince who fled Troy when it was being sacked by the Greeks. He carried his father, and he was a son of Venus. And eventually his ancestors would go on to found Rome. And a lot of important people in Roman society would try and connect themselves to Aeneas so their power would be kind of solidified, as you can see by Caesar's name being on this. So this would have been a coin minted by Julius Caesar, showing Venus on the obverse and then Aeneas carrying his father on the reverse. Talking about rulers, emperors, and power, we will now move on to imperial coinage specifically. And here I've given two examples of coins by Trajan. These were minted about 4 years apart, and they're dedicated to like two very different things. And this is kind of like the two main reasons that an emperor would make a coin. So on the left side here, you can see a figure of Trajan killing a Dacian, who is a group of people that he conquered. And then on the right side, you can see the form of Trajan, which is one of the most popular forms from the Roman period. So on the left here, this coin would have been used as a way to spread news of military victory and conquest to the people of Rome, to celebrate what the emperor has accomplished. And on the right side here, this would be a way to show the people of Rome that Trajan is not above giving back to them. This form is a celebration of them, and the emperor is benevolent in the way that he's giving back to the people. So that's really the two main reasons why an emperor would make a coin. Some important things to go to as well when it comes to imperial coinage are the abbreviations. I'll really only focus on two of them right now. So IMP stands for Imperator, or Emperor. You can see this at the start of the name on every coin of an emperor. So you have IMP right there. And then you can see it right here, IMP. That would then be followed by a name, and then AVG or AUG standing for Augustus. And then you would have their titles all the way wrapping around. And eventually you get to COS right here, which stands for Council for the Blank Time. And for the blank time is because there would always be a Roman numeral after that. So on this coin we can see COSV, which means Trajan was consul 5 times when he made this coin. And on this side we can see COSVI, which means Trajan was consul for 6 times when he made this coin. A big part about Roman coinage that a lot of people will skip over is how it really evolved over time as a system, especially of spreading news and even just representing the culture in Rome in general. So on the left side here, we see a very old coin, which would have dated back probably to about 150 BCE, before Common Era, during the Republican age of Rome. And this is dedicated to their deity Roma, who is the personification of Rome that you can see in many monuments and coins. And on the reverse of this would be a celebration of a military victory by the Roman people. This can be seen because the bottom here where it says Roma, this is a maker's mark actually. So some coins would allow the person who created the coin to kind of put their signature on it. But this shows that the Roman people are focused on the city of Rome itself, and its leaders are giving credit to their deity and the people of Rome. Moving to the middle part here, instead of the figure of a god on the obverse now, you actually see the figure of the emperor, and this is Trajan again. But on the back, you still can see a deity. So this is Mars' altar. You can tell it's Mars' altar because he's completely naked except for the helmet, and he is wielding a spear. So this is showing that Trajan, although he believes himself to be a very important figure, as we can see by him being on the obverse of the coin, is still dedicating whatever it is that he is celebrating to the god Mars' altar. So this is an important fact because he's still giving worship to the gods. And then the last one on this page is this coin of Vespasian. So on the front, just like on the coin of Trajan, you can see the figure of Vespasian. But on the back is where you see the main difference. This here is not another deity standing. This is actually another figure of Vespasian. But back here is the personification of victory for Rome, also known as Nike. And here you can see Nike is crowning Vespasian victorious. So this is presenting Vespasian as not necessarily another person or somebody beneath the gods, but rather it is showing Vespasian as a god, because he is being crowned victorious by another god. And this is a big shift over time that happens in Rome from the Republic all the way to the end of the Imperial era. Another important thing to look at as well are some symbols on coins. It makes it at least easier to point out some deities and also some fun things that you'll find on coins. So on the left here, just like we already talked about, this is Nike, the personification of victory, and you can tell that it's her because of the wings coming out of the back, and her hand is outstretched holding that laurel wreath in her hand, symbolizing victory. On this one, this is actually the god Neptune. You can tell because of this three-pronged trident in his left hand, and even though it's kind of hard to see right now and you likely can't see it, this little squiggle in his right hand is a dolphin, which connects back to how over time the figure of a dolphin would transform into something that people saw as a symbolization of Neptune and not actually Venus. And then on the right here is the reverse of a coin minted for Pompey the Great, who was a Roman general. He was the first one to conquer land in all three continents, and he got 3 triumphs for that. This was minted by his son-in-law, celebrating all 3 of those triumphs, and these trophies standing up right here are those triumphs. You don't see too many of these on coins. These are kind of rare. This is really the only example I can find, but I think it's just one of those really cool things that you don't see often. And then finally, we're going to talk just briefly about the fall of Roman religion and also kind of the development of the crappy art. So right here on the left, this is a depiction of Roma during the Roman Republic. And as you can see here, this is kind of a mix of classical style as well as what the Romans would have considered a veristic style. Still very defined, very nice coin. Right here, you can see this classical depiction of Augustus, the first emperor, and this held true for much of the Imperial era, are these classicized style of all these emperors. But on the right here, you get to Constantine, the first Christian emperor, and this is where the italic style starts to take over, where the head is usually bigger than the body, And I really do believe, although I can't talk about it too much right now, that this is the ugliest of all